My mustache is getting too long. Huh? I need to trim it. I haven't trimmed it in a couple weeks. Don't I have a very Mexican looking mustache?
Um, you have a handlebar mustache. Well, it's kind of like a straight like
Because
motor.
I brush it to the side like really hard. I feel like white dudes, most of their mustache hairs go straight down. That's how they go, straight down, and mine all go out.
To the side.
Yeah,
Nice. You're training it. You're training the mustache.
I probably need to trim this part though. This is starting to get too long right here.
Huh.
Should I or no?
The tips.
Yeah. Wait, let me change the lighting. Hold on.
I'm not really up on mustache culture and trends, so I don't feel qualified to answer that question.
It's a lot better, huh?
Sure.
Yeah, you can see me.
It's pretty good. Nice hat, dude.
Oh yeah, Memorial Day.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah, we just drove freaking 30 minutes to the ice caves, and they were flooded with water. So
What?
we would have to hold our breath for quite some time to be able to get in there.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and we thought about it, but the water was way too cold. So, and we had Ben's girlfriend and Hiram's wife with us, so they didn't want us to risk our lives.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah,
Uh, so did you have a lot of rain recently?
yeah, we've had a lot of rain. It's been
Dang.
raining like it was raining like every day for the past like 2 3 weeks. Except
Really?
this week. This week's been good. Yeah,
Is this normal like spring showers?
I guess. Yeah,
Huh. Wow. So kind of like cold and overcast in the winter and then wet and overcast in the spring.
yeah, something
Take
like
your
that.
take your vitamin D.
Yeah, I haven't been. I need to.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I was thinking about you because I went for a hike and I went to the Santan Mountain Regional Park, which is my old stomping grounds. Done a lot of trail running there, but usually when you're running, you don't like look around and like pay attention. And so I was hiking this time, so I was like head on the swivel, and I noticed there were some mine tailings up the hill from me, and of course there was a little sign there that said like area closed to protect habitat and erosion. So
Hmm.
I hiked up I hiked up there, and the first mine, like obviously now I know why the trail's called Gold Mine. The first mine shaft I came to was like a straight like bored into the side of the mountain hole, but they had cemented and welded like a grate to it, like not even with a hinge, you can't open it no matter what. So that one's locked off. But then I noticed above me there were more mine tailings, so I kept huffing it up the mountainside. I got to the next one and it was not sealed off. So of course I started walking in there, and it was like you have to hunch over, like kind of barely the width of a grown man hunched over to get in there. And then I saw the bats, and it
We're
looked like
bats in there.
yeah, and it looked like they were flying right at me. So I got the crap out of there.
Oh, that happened to me and Jacob when we went to. This is so good if I sit like this.
It looks fantastic. You look very pit bullish, dominant, strong, alpha.
Omega. I am the
Me-
alpha. I am the omega.
Meanwhile, I'm over here with my
Just kidding.
flower print.
Does my audio sound good or no?
Sounds good.
I just got this headset.
Sweet.
This, does it actually sound good or is it kind of crappy? Because
I mean,
my phone's
sounds
way
good.
over there.
Sounds good to me.
Mm. Yeah, that happened to me and Jacob when we went to a cave in Arizona, and there was it was just flooded with bats, and they were hitting us because we just found ourselves ourselves in this pitch black room, and we just had our flashlights, and then we scared a bunch of bats, and they just all started going everywhere and like hitting us and stuff, and it was freaking scary. We were with 2 girls as well, so that just added to the trauma that we experienced.
Dang. In Arizona?
Oh yeah. Yeah, Mom was pissed. Yeah, I told her about it. It was a couple of years ago. But yeah, so we didn't wind up going into a cave, and we wound up we wound up just driving on this extremely rough path for a really long time, just getting thrown around the car,
Oh, shoot.
only to get there and then see other people who were there standing outside the cave, spending, I don't know, they were there when we got there, and then they were still there when we left, and we just left pretty quickly after we realized we're not going to go in. And you could tell they were just sitting there trying to find something to make the drive out there worth it. But really, they were just like sitting on rocks and like talking about, well, if we did like try and go in, like, and then just taking pictures with rocks, like, I don't know, just reaching for anything they could to make this like, okay, let's make this somewhat worthwhile. So instead, they decided to waste more of their day out in the middle of nowhere.
You could do a psychoanalysis of that behavior pattern. Like, I think generally people like attach to things way beyond what's rational, like stay in a situation like, oh man, I spent all this time to get here, so it's just really hard for me to accept the fact that this is a complete bust, so I'm going to just like waste more time.
Yeah.
Like that happens in life all the time. It's sunk cost, bro. Move on.
Yeah. It's like denial or something. Yeah. But it was fun. But now I'm extremely tired, and I have a leg day.
Were
So
you
that's not good.
driving?
No, heck no, I was not going to take my car. It was super rocky. So we took Ben's car.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, so is this an official Kram recording? Because if so, we should say something like, hey guys, it's been it's been a minute, like over a year. Welcome back. This is your show, right?
True.
How do you want to run this? You're in charge. Go for it.
I don't know. With Film Odyssey, actually, no, we do usually have an intro. Welcome back, guys. This is Kram, and we haven't recorded in a really long time. I'm now living in Idaho. My father, Mark, is still in Arizona. So we decided to hop on and record another video because we haven't in a long time. So this is just like catching up.
For real. Do you want to like give like a super condensed recap of what's happened in the last year and a half for you?
Yeah, I grew a mustache in the last year, as you can tell. Actually, it's been probably 4 or 5 months, probably 4. And pretty good for 4 months, huh? Just kidding. And I moved from Arizona since the last recording, I moved from Arizona to Utah with my buddy, who promptly got married and left me by myself. And then from there, I made the kind of last minute decision to attend college. And I'm doing that in Idaho because my buddy Hiram from high school, who I played volleyball with, he's going to college here. So came up here, and yeah, I'd like a side-by-side of me now versus the video where I was bashing on college. I honestly still feel the same way, to be honest. It's just you learn a bunch of random crap you're never going to use, and then you get a certificate that says, hey, he learned a bunch of crap that he's never going to use. And then people are going to say, oh, okay, thank goodness. And then they're going to hire you because of that. Unless you're going into something super specific. Like Hiram, my buddy's going, he's going to try and get into medical school pretty soon. And yeah. What about you? What have you been up to the last
So
year?
So I think more about the college thing before we leave that. So I think, like we said last time we recorded, that might have been our last episode, actually. I don't even know if we ever posted that, though. I think
we did.
Okay, we did. Okay. I think that there's no hard requirement to go to college, for sure. And I think we talked about that last time. I still think that's the truth. But it's the leveling up of your character. It's the character transformation that college can facilitate. And I don't know. I've seen a renaissance in you, Dane.
Right? Yeah, no, yeah. I think in the professional world, that I was referring to college relating to the professional world, not your character development. I think it definitely, depending on who you are, I think it changes person by person. But for me, it's had a positive impact over me socially, my social abilities, and my maybe just perseverance and grit, because when you're required to do things you don't want to do, it's a really important skill to be able to do things that you really don't want to do. So, I don't know. Is that because I feel like we grow up learning that, like, oh, hey, get really good at things that you hate doing because you're going to have to do them your whole life. Is that how it should work? Because there's someone out there who likes doing that thing. So why don't you leave it to them? They're going to be naturally better at it, and leave it to them, and then do the thing that you like doing, whether that be playing video games, going to the casino, anything like that, and then stick to that thing and get really good at it. Just kidding. Not the two examples I listed, but college is probably a good place to figure out what that thing is that you're really good at doing. Like, yeah, I've realized, well, I kind of already knew, but I've realized since taking a psychology class that I'm taking this semester, I like psychology more than I thought I did. I'd like to take philosophy, but I'm probably not going to take it here. I just have a strong feeling it's not going to be great. I got it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do know what you're saying.
It wouldn't be amazing. Like, great information I'm learning, heavily biased, and I don't know. Maybe not.
There's a weird intersection of LDS theology and philosophy in general. It's just not.
It's almost like discouraged. Because when I'm talking about stuff in psychology, it's like, hey, all right, now here is how I want you to interpret this. Now proceed to interpret it that way as I explain it to you. And then you're like, what? Okay. Or it's like, we were talking about unconditional love or whatever, and he, like, doesn't exist, irrelevant things being unconditional, whatever, doesn't exist, except for God. God loves you unconditionally. And then I was like, that's a major contradiction with the Mormon theology, though, actually. And basically all of them, like Christians in general. He's like, no. We'll stay away from that. But yeah, I said that in class out loud, and I was about to just like, hey, we should get into a full discussion about this. Because, like, first of all, anyone who's ever said that God loves you unconditionally is a complete moron, in my opinion. Have you ever heard that? Probably within the last 3 decades or so.
I think we should talk about this. Why can you not say God loves you unconditionally? Why can you not say that?
Oh, you can say that. But what you can't do is say God loves you unconditionally unless this happens, because that doesn't make any sense. God loves you God loves you unconditionally, except for these conditions. In these conditions, He won't love you.
Um,
Wouldn't,
well, I don't know that there are any conditions on God's love for us.
okay. So what's the one unforgivable sin we talk about?
Well, if you deny the Holy Ghost, if the sons of perdition, you're going to go to wherever they go, right?
Right.
There's like an unforgivable sin. You are conflating that with the fact that God doesn't love that person.
If your wife said that she, I don't know, she does something that really pisses you off, like big time,
Yes.
or like denies your existence,
Yes.
and then you go and put your wife into a setting which she will endure infinite pain and suffering, someone does that to their wife, would you say that he loved his wife and he did that out of love for her? Or maybe, would you say that or no?
Oh, that's interesting. Um, wait, what did the wife do to deserve going there?
Let's use denied his existence for. I don't think it matters, to be completely honest with you. But yeah, let's just say like, you're not. I know you've like loved me and stuff, and like done all these great things for me, but I'm not gonna acknowledge that at all, and I'm gonna actually say that you didn't even do them, and it was you don't even have free will, so that's why it happened. Let's say that. Like,
Okay, run me through the scenario again because I want to give a thoughtful response to this.
okay, so there's a man and his wife does some unforgivable sin to the man, like denies his existence, or you know something along the lines of that, and then the husband then puts his wife into a situation where she will endure infinite suffering and pain. Would you say that man loved his wife and he was doing that out of love for his wife?
What if there was
Or what if he said, well, I didn't really tell you that that was going to happen, but I hinted at it and was really hoping that you would start to think that that would happen if you made the choice that you made. Um, and I guess you didn't know. So now I'm going to stick you into a situation where you're going to experience infinite pain and suffering.
okay? I have two
And,
thoughts. I have two thoughts on this. Um, number one, the presupposition in your argument or your implied argument is that there is no code or law this man is bound by, that it's 100% his prerogative what happens. So that's number one. Number two,
what happens, as in, like, it's his choice
no,
that it
no,
happens.
your implied argument is that it's 100% his discretion, right? That's the presupposition here, that he can choose whether to do that or not. And the same, is being implied that God, because he's, you know, uh, 无所不知,无所不能. That means he's all powerful and all knowing.
Mm-hmm. Do you believe
Um,
that he is or no?
um, yes, I believe he is.
All
However,
powerful and all knowing.
yes. However, people make this, frame this question like, well, can God make a rock that's too big for him to lift? Because if not, then he's too, then he's not all powerful.
God has bounds and limitations,
Okay,
which
yeah.
he created, though.
Or, God was once as we are now, and those laws existed before he came along into his exalted state. He just understands and moves within them. But those same laws are so
So
immutable.
God is all powerful and all knowing within the limitations that another God created.
Perhaps, yes.
So what exactly are his limitations then? Like, what are those? Is it
Divine
just things
justice,
that we can't explain?
the immutable laws of justice. That there's something that transcends God's
The
power.
immutable laws of justice.
Yeah, there's the thing that transcends, like, not that I don't know how this works, so I'm just saying words, but I think they have meaning, and I think they're close to the truth. Um, that's my excuse, for not having this completely, worked out and being able to articulate it properly. But something about the demands of justice, that sin is separation from God, and that sin has no end, it's endless, it's eternal, that thing, kind of like the speed of light is the constant of the universe. It's like rebellion against God's will is a constant of the universe from a moral standpoint, that even God himself, and it's not so much as a question of whether he can or not, or whether it's a function of love or not, whether he bends that law, he won't do it because he would cease to be God.
Okay. Uh, that just seems really like easy to say. It's like, okay, well, he doesn't have limitations or anything except for this really major thing that's like gonna decide our eternity. Like, I think if he loved us no matter what, he would make sure we're not going to hell.
Yeah, I
I
think
don't know. It's like weird to say, like, well, some other god created these laws that this god has to now follow. I don't think a lot of theologies feel that way at all. I think is that unique to Mormonism, or is that
um,
Christians in general?
that God is what?
That God has limitations that were not created by him.
I think they're, yeah. I don't
Because we
know.
believe in one God, but Mormons believe in gods before him,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
kind of unique to Mormon faith, right?
yeah. I think so. Maybe. Okay, you want an analogy that illustrates my point?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine a master novelist, someone who can write anything, any character, any world. They're all powerful in the world of the book. Nothing happens unless they write it. They choose to write a story with moral coherence. Actions have consequences. Goodness is rewarded. Evil corrupts. Justice matters. The author could break these rules at any time. He chooses not to, so that the story is meaningful. So he has absolute power, but he binds himself to the story's deeper laws of justice because they want the story to matter.
But he doesn't have ultimate power.
He
So are you
could.
saying it's a choice that he's making, or is it an actual limitation? And if he could, he would save us. And he wouldn't have us sent to hell, but some other idiot, or I mean, some other just like rude God was like, well, no, this is actually how it's going to be. And that God wasn't actually all loving. And he was like, well, no, there's people that need to experience the worst thing you can ever imagine, by the way. So let's make this a rule for every other God after me. And then
So
this
you're
guy's
talking,
just, dang, well, I am all loving and powerful, except I have to do this.
but God is all loving and all powerful, and he does show that love to his children in the way that he administers justice and mercy. Um, right? Because I think we're
Really?
talking about the extreme fringe case here. There's like maybe 0.00000000001% of people could actually qualify to become a son of perdition, maybe less than that, right? And so everybody else eventually is going to heaven according to our theology. That's pretty loving in my book.
Right. Is it?
And how do we know
Why
how
are
bad?
we here in the first place?
Say it
Why
again.
wouldn't we just be up there right now?
Progression, character development, learning.
Yeah, but why does that need to happen here? Why does that need to happen?
Because
Character development and learning. Why does
we're on
that
this
need to happen?
we're on this transformative journey where initially we existed as intelligences, and eventually it's our destiny to become like God Himself, and that doesn't
But
just.
what's the reason? What's the like point of going through this like life to get there? Oh, because you'll learn things along the way and gain knowledge that you didn't originally think you were going to gain along the way. Except, why wasn't that all uploaded into our brains in an instant? Like, why did that need to happen? Why didn't you just go like, bam, and then it's just, okay, all of that experience, everything you could have gained from Earth is now in your brain 100% right now? Because that's not the way it works. But
Yeah.
why isn't it the way it works?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that.
Like, what? Why does he allow like a tree to fall in the middle of a forest and like land on a deer, and then the deer sits there in agonizing pain for 3 hours as it slowly dies?
Well,
like, why does that happen?
Let's make it worse. Let's say it was a human that happened to, a higher form of intelligence, like his
No,
own.
but you could say that was like you could have learned something from that. I used an animal because animals aren't here to like. Animals are different from humans. So like, why? What were we supposed to gain from that?
Something about pain and suffering is requisite for the transformative process that our soul's going through to become the best version of itself. Right? On
Why
one
couldn't
end,
we
that's
just be the best version of ourselves? Like, why didn't he just do that? Upload that to our brains, our souls.
I believe it's because that's how he attained to his level of character. That it's not something that's granted. It's a process of becoming.
Yeah, like why didn't you like everything that you could have possibly gained from the process of becoming just uploaded to our brains, you know?
Perhaps there's no other way than to actually have the physical experiences to allow that transformation to happen. In fact, I'm convinced that is the case.
Why?
Otherwise, why would he have created this earth and put us on it?
Exactly. That's a good question. Why did he do that? You know? Get the hell out of here. I'm just kidding. Yeah, well.
So God didn't just upload all of our character development to our brain from day one, because it's not the plan. It's not the way it happens. There's no shortcuts. I mean, anybody
It's just
watching,
like reaching. It's like, it's almost like on the fly, like, well, maybe it's because of this. No, that's the reason.
yeah.
Or like,
Well,
or I hope it is,
Yeah.
It's just not like it's just not convincing to me. I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, that's a possibility, I guess. Like, or it's like I can think of like a billion different things that it could be, It's just that people like collectively decide that like this one sounds good, and or maybe not even sounds good, but they're like, well, this one, a lot of people feel this way, and after I was around people that felt this way, and wrote and read the things that were written that were supposed to make me feel this way, I slowly started to feel this way, which is kind of weird. And now I feel this way 100%. And now you're an idiot if you don't feel that way.
I don't agree with the last part of that. I don't.
No, I mean, but it is lots of people are super judgmental of that, but
yes,
it's not. That's not a universal truth that people feel that way.
Yeah, and I think that's unfortunate that people. I think there are a lot of weak-minded spiritual, religious zealots who, for position and just sort of to excuse their failures in life, stand on supposed higher moral ground and judgment against their fellow man, and that absolutely helps nobody. And it's completely useless and unfortunate. But I think what we're talking about, or at least what I'm supposing is, a possibility, goes beyond just some random, concoction of ideas that could fit one of another, any other billion scenarios that we could just imagine. I think it's much more than that. I think this idea of character development and evolution fits with our biology. It fits with our experience in life. There's an incremental process to almost everything. Why wouldn't that same thing apply to our spirits?
I mean, I guess it would if those existed. Like,
yes.
Yeah, it's just what's the I want to know how people become convinced of it, that that is the case. It's all like just subjective experience, I guess. And some people just like God will allow some people to have those and not other people.
If you believe in Mormon theology, from the Doctrine and Covenants that there's something called spiritual gifts, and one of the spiritual gifts specified in the Doctrine and Covenants is to have faith in Jesus and a witness or a testimony of Jesus Christ. And
I believe it existed. Yeah.
What's that?
Well, I believe Jesus Christ existed.
No. Sorry, I didn't quote that correctly. That Jesus Christ is the literal Son of God.
Oh.
And then there's another gift that you can believe on the witness or the testimony of someone that has that faith.
So a sheep?
Yeah, like a sheep.
And then some people are blessed with being stupid, and they can just like, that's what that sounds like to me.
I don't no, I think.
And some people are blessed with the ability to have a really simple mind and just go with what everybody else says and really actually feel that way because other people do. Those are people I want in my army. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, and maybe that's just convenient to acquire, disciples and followers and tithe payers to your cause, right? But I think that there's something.
I might have a buyer for your car out front.
Oh, we're recording a live video.
That's okay.
You can get their information for me.
He lives next door.
Okay, thanks. I should have turned the camera. Grandpa coming in 3 generations. Let's go.
Heck yeah, he should be in this. Yeah, that would be cool. Not for this discussion.
Not for this discussion. It would be a little tenuous. It'd be a little difficult.
Yeah, that would be cool to see the ability to freely think across generations.
It's progressively increasing.
Yeah, I wonder what my son's going to be like if I have one of those.
Dude, I've already told you this offline, and I'm not trying to be performative here, but I am super proud of how free of a thinker you are and how analytical and critical and questioning. I am super proud to be your father in all of that. And you've actually changed me from the experience of being your dad has helped me become less judgmental. And I am super grateful for that. Yeah. Very, very grateful. Thank you. If you ever do, not that there's any judgment around this, but if I've thought to myself, like, what's that?
Were you going to say if you do decide to go on a mission?
No.
Oh. Decide to go on a mission, though, I'll give you
okay, but I could use that as an example since you brought it up. If you ever went on a mission for the LDS faith, like if you developed a faith of the church, not that you're any more or less valuable or incredible, whether you do that or not, or any less worthy or more worthy of love, none of that absolutely 100% doesn't matter at all. but if you chose to do that, or if that happened in your life, then how much, like 10 to 1, dude, like 20 to 100 to 1, your discipleship and your belief. I'm not trying to diminish anybody else's path, and I'm not trying to diminish people that are blessed with a gift to believe on the witness of others. But it has occurred to me that
I don't doubt it.
I'd rather be someone that thinks critically and doesn't ascribe to a faith, even if it's, been part of my family for generations. I'd rather be that person than a weak-minded follower that sort of doubts it but goes along with it because they're not willing to be intentional in the way they live their life. So yeah, I think it's I think it's fantastic.
It's fascinating to me that some people don't ever doubt it. Like, it's actually fascinating to me. I think it's extremely interesting how that could possibly happen.
Yeah, I
And
doubt.
those people need to be studied. And I'm sure they are. But they've never had a moment where they're like, you know what? There is zero way that this is real. Like, there's like how do you not have a moment ever where you're like, let's think logically for a second.
One of my favorite primary songs starts with the words, "Heavenly Father, are you really there?" Yes. Yeah. And do you hear an answer every child's friend?
Some say the heaven is far away. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel it closer around me as I pray. Sorry. I was just trying to remember the lyrics.
That's it.
So it's basically like, oh, you have these questions?
Yeah. I think it's okay to question. I think.
Yeah.
I think if you're not human, I think you're not. Yeah, you're an NPC if you just never question. You just like shut that part of your brain down. Like, oh no, I'm afraid of that part of my brain. Like, no, that's really bad. I can't think that. I can't think that. Like,
would you encourage people to question it?
What's that?
Would you encourage current believers, if they never have before, to question their faith?
No, because I don't think that's useful.
Because really?
I don't think it's useful.
Would you rather have a soldier who like is like, well, I kind of believe in like the reason we're fighting this war right now, but I'm not 100% sure? Would you rather have that soldier, or would you rather have that soldier go off and be like, hey, you know what? You figure out why we're doing this, and then you can come back once you figure it out, because you're going to be a more effective soldier once you do.
I'd rather have the obedient one, number one, in my army.
I wouldn't, honestly. Just the one that's like mindless and is like, well, yeah, I'll fight. I think 100 soldiers that think that way, feel that way, lose against 25 soldiers that are really like, no, I know for a fact why we're doing this and that this needs to happen, versus people that are just like, you know what? I guess it's not a great analogy because you have the instinct to want to survive no matter what. So like they're probably going to perform the same. But let's say like winning a basketball game. How about that? You have a team of basketball players. Would you want people who are just like, well, I mean, it's fun to win. Like, I understand our coach really wants us to win, but like, I don't really understand why 100%. But like, yeah, I guess I want to win. Like, winning is cool. Or do you want the team that's like, I want to win more than anything. Like, and I know like this is the most important thing right now, and this needs to happen.
I would ask you, well, obviously I want the second person, but can I put a nuance on it for your reflection?
Mm-hmm.
Would you want the person that really badly wants to win for which of these two reasons?
Mm-hmm.
Which of these two reasons? Number one, to earn their self-worth, they have to win. Number two, because they feel already super self-worthy, and they're doing it, and they're pursuing greatness because they want to, and they're going to honor that greatness, and they want to win to honor that greatness.
What do you think is a larger motivator? Achieving self-worth, or already having self-worth and just trying to reach greatness, like whatever that means, like I think figuring out your self-worth might be a little bit more motivating.
Well, yeah, because it's terrifying that if you don't do something, you may not matter. I experienced that before I ran my first marathon. When I post 40, when I got back into running, the night like 2 days before the marathon, I was like freaking out and I was doing a lot of journaling and introspection, and I arrived at the truth that it mattered so much to me because I wanted to matter.
Yeah.
And that's not healthy.
Really?
Nope. I've been working on that.
It depends on what you mean by matter, I think.
I wanted to have worth.
To other people? You wanted other people to feel like you had worth? Or you wanted to feel like you were worthy of like being yourself, or like you yourself like have a feeling of self-worth?
I think it was because growing up, somehow I attached the idea that how I performed was directly linked to how valuable I was as a human being. And I was more worthy of love, praise, acceptance if I performed well. And that's really damaging for kids. It's not good. I'm not blaming anybody for that. I just noticed that or it's not my intention to blame anybody for that. By bringing it up, I'm not trying to attach blame for that. But those things got linked in my brain, and it's messed up. And I think in order to be a healthy person that can bond with another healthy person in an intimate relationship, there's a certain level of independence, emotional independence that you need to attain, where you feel worthy, completely independent of your performance in life. And the reason you want to achieve greatness and you're driven to perform at a high level is to honor the worthiness that you already feel is like a wellspring inherently, bubbling up within you. And I didn't have that, and it's taken me well into life to try to figure that out.
I think it'd be interesting to. I need to go see a psychologist just to see what they tell me about myself. How often do you think psychologists experience projection?
Projection.
I
wondered that. Well, please clarify what you mean by projection.
The psychological term projection.
Yeah. Can you define it for the audience, please?
Projection is when you feel a certain way and you project it onto someone or something else. So, for example, if you feel that you suck at soccer and then you're playing soccer with your buddy, then you would say, dude, why do you suck at soccer? It's a really basic example.
Okay. So a psychologist.
So it's a defense mechanism where an individual unconsciously attributes their own undesirable thoughts, feelings, or behaviors to someone else.
Got it. And I would think that if you're trying to be a clinician, whether you're a psychologist, psychiatrist, or whatever, therapist, let's use the term broadly, I would think that it would be a massive liability if you projected.
How do you know How do you know if you're doing something if it's unconscious? If it's an unconscious act, then how can you become aware of it? How do you know that you're doing it?
How do you become aware of your unconscious actions and
I
thought
guess
patterns?
you also see a psychologist.
Kind of like God, how God went through his own growth.
Uh-huh.
First of all, you decide you want to become intentional about becoming aware of your unconscious bias.
Easier said than done.
Right. But number one is you have to accept that you have bias, which I'm pretty sure you've arrived at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could take there, I guess there's tests for this stuff. The implicit association test by Harvard. But this is that's like unconscious bias about race and stuff, gender, age, religion.
Right.
One thing that maybe this is helpful in that regard. One thing that Ray Dalio, the author of the book Principles, talked about, which fascinated me, is that he would seek out the most intelligent people that disagreed with him. Like it's become an obsession for him that he seeks out the most intelligent people that disagree with him constantly. And then he seeks to understand or see things the way they see to see if, if it has an effect. I would think that doing so could have a powerful, maybe not direct, but indirect effect of uncovering some bias, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's a good. Oh, you can keep a bias journal. That's a thing.
Mm. How do you do that? You just figure out like slowly, like, oh, I'm biased about this. You write it down.
You see how I just shared that?
Yeah.
Oh, let's bring you back. You can keep a bias journal. Um, After meetings or social interactions, jot down who you listen to most, whose ideas you support or question, any patterns over time. This builds self-awareness over time. Like, is self-awareness like a muscle that you have to exercise so that you increasingly see things about yourself that you didn't see before? I once heard an author talk about this idea of self-awareness, or this locus of identity. You know what's really fascinating is we think this is sorry, my brain's going jumping around pretty fast right now. Are you watching a video?
No, I'm trying to find something.
Um, there's like in metaphysics, which is metaphysics a branch of philosophy? I think it is. In
I don't know.
metaphysics deals with identity, what it means to be an entity, I mean, what it means to be a human, what it means to have identity. And I once had my business coach once like did a real mind warp with me one day, and he I can't remember how we got on this, but I'm gonna botch this. But he basically said, you are not you're not who you think you are. You're not like you perceive that you yourself as an entity is the one engaging in conversation, taking action, feeling emotion, like but that it can't possibly be you that's doing all those things.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard that?
Yeah, I think Freud kind of feels that way, right?
I don't know. I don't know enough about Freud.
I'm pretty sure he does.
But you know how do you know why we know that that's not you as a person, the person saying the words, the person thinking the thoughts, the person doing the things, the entity
Because
feeling.
like you don't actually ever have original thoughts and like everything's well, yeah, because there's no such thing as free will. But like aside from that, it's the fact that like you everything about your personality is like decided from the age 0 to 6 years old, according to Freud.
According to Freud.
What was your reasoning?
So my reasoning, or what my business coach said to me that day, was he said, can you can you imagine like moving, and I don't think he said this, but I read this somewhere else. Imagine moving up and back from yourself. Like imagine for a moment, like moving out of your body up and back and looking down on yourself, thinking thoughts, feeling feelings, saying words, taking actions. The fact that you are able to take a third party observable role on yourself in and of itself proves that that person taking that third party view is more your true self than the person like actually behaving and acting. And that has something to do with attachment. Like I think my business coach was trying to tell me, like, don't get so attached to things. Don't give them so much meaning, false meaning. Or don't attach yourself to outcomes because I don't know, dude. Like I'm gonna have to go back and find that. But can you see the dynamic there where because humans have the ability to reflect on and observe themselves, and this has to do with self-awareness, and that's why I think I thought of it. That act of observing puts us into a higher plane in and of itself. And that higher plane is closer to our true identity and our true self than the one that we're acting and behaving in right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. Did you see the recent video with Jordan Peterson versus 20 atheists?
No.
It just dropped on Jubilee.
Say it again.
It just dropped on Jubilee. You should watch it.
Yeah. Like right now?
I mean, if you want, it's really good.
Heck yeah. How long is it?
Well, actually, it's not really good. I don't know why I said that, but I don't know. Maybe 20 minutes or something. Probably longer. I don't know.
How many atheists?
20.
Oh, bro. It's an hour and a half long.
Oh, really? I watched the whole thing yesterday. I did not think it was an hour and a half.
Can you see it?
Oh, yeah.
Is that it?
Mm-hmm. It's the first one. I don't think he did very well. I mean, no, he did well, but he also didn't at the same time. Oh, I can't see the video if you're playing it.
Oh, shoot. That kid just like torched him.
Yeah, are you watching the video right now?
Hold on. Let me try this again. Oh, that was good. Hold on, dude. Here we go. Okay, you can see it now,
That kid
right?
was too emotional. Yeah.
Okay, can you hear the audio when I play it? Hold on.
You're a Christian.
Yeah.
You say that. I haven't claimed that.
Well, what is this? Is this Christians versus atheists?
Don't be a smartass.
Either you're a Christian or you're not. Which one is it?
You're really quite something. You are.
Aren't I? But you're really quite nothing. Right? You're not a Christian.
Okay, I'm done with him.
Yeah. Wait, go full screen.
Like this?
No, the YouTube video.
Oh, okay.
And then,
Like that?
yeah, no. Press play.
Hello there. I'm Dr. Jordan Peterson. I'm a clinical psychologist,
Skip to like 5 minutes.
professor emeritus at the University of Toronto, an author, a pod. It's being rejected and its complexity. Okay, so God rewards Moses with a glimpse of the divine. So this is a definition of the God that atheists are hypothetically rejecting.
A possible one.
I said ah.
Yeah.
I didn't say the. I
know.
said ah.
That
Right.
is possible, yes.
Okay. So despite the fact that Moses
I
is
actually
a
like
stellar
this guy.
character and he's had a
What's that?
I actually like this guy who he's talking to.
Oh, you do? Okay.
He was
Long
pretty
and-
respectful.
difficult.
No, skip to 3240. 3240. I think that one was better.
How you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
So
you.
do you
I
see his
guess
claim?
since you said morality and purpose,
What's that?
You see his claim to the top.
Claim number 2: morality and purpose can't be found within science.
Mm-hmm.
This kid just likes to argue. I've seen him on other of these.
I've debated him. Did you know that?
Oh, really?
Yeah. On live. I've also
Sure.
debated his friend Dean Withers, but they've debated thousands of people. And then I got a bunch of followers from it. And it was
Nice.
a lot of liberals saying that, like, I don't even care that you're like a total misogynist. Da 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 da. You're hot as f. Like you can do anything to me. And I'm like, dude, I should just expose all of you guys. Okay.
You should.
I know. Well, first of all, that claim I think is a terrible claim. Morality and purpose cannot be found within science. I agree with purpose. Maybe the purpose part. I think the purpose part probably actually can be found within science. Like maybe why humans want to find purpose. Like I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
We can find that. But like I don't think there is a purpose. So I think it's like an irrelevant question. Like purpose cannot be found within science, probably because there is none. And then morality, I think there's a very much scientifical explanation for why humans have morality.
What, like, how do you define purpose?
A point, a reason for our existence.
Well, there's a purpose within science. It's evolution. I mean, we're
Right. I think it's like less surface level than that. It's like bigger picture. Like, what is the purpose for evolution, though? Like, why is it that Earth was created or Earth formed and humans are here? And like, what's it all for? Like, what's the purpose? Just to survive? That's not like the purpose, you know? It's like
doesn't it seem like life has a will to exist and adapt and like it's like life is in opposition to, it seems that life is in opposition to atrophy, right? And to you know, like it's there's a struggle to bring order.
what?
There's a struggle to bring order. Science is the study of life's desire to bring order in the face of the default atrophy. I don't know. Should we watch this for a second? What do you
Yeah.
want to do?
Watch it.
purpose cannot be found in science. It would just depend on like what you're referencing. If you're saying a description of your psychological preferences would be considered within science, sure. But I don't think that you have to say that it comes from science in order to be like an atheist. As an agnostic atheist, I don't know if God exists and I don't believe that a God exists. And the only ones that I would really reject would be like the all-knowing, all-powerful, all-good, perfect notion of God that plenty of Christians like prescribe themselves. So I guess
How is that relevant to this claim?
you're basing a position of morality and purpose in some like notion of God that isn't the same type of notion of God that typical Christians would prescribe. Your notion of God is
What typical Christians?
yeah. Typically, when I talk to Christians, they say that they believe in an
How
all-knowing.
about Cardinal Newman, who defined God as conscience? He was a major influence on all of Catholic social theory. How about that Christian?
Sure. So do you believe in the all-knowing, all-powerful, all-good notion of God?
What do you mean by believe?
I'm gonna have to watch this whole thing.
Yeah.
Do you think it to be true?
What?
Just keep watching it.
Circular definition. What do you mean
How
when
is
you
that
say you
circular?
believe?
How is that circular?
Because you added no content to the answer by substituting the word true and believe.
I said you think it to be true.
All right. So if
What's
you
a belief?
believe something, you stake your life on it.
What do you mean by that?
You live for it and you die for it. That's what I mean by that. It isn't something that you say. It isn't something that's associated with logical consistency. It's not declarative. It's not propositional. It's not a figment of your imagination. It's the presupposition of your attention and your action. And you're either fragmented, in which case you worship multiple gods, or there's some unity at the bottom of it that makes you an unstoppable force.
Okay, so you're saying that you don't believe something if you wouldn't die for it?
Not really, no.
Okay. So then,
How would you define belief? Something you say?
Can I explain? Like, I could believe it is the case that this pen exists, but if someone like threatened my life, right, I would lie in order to be able to save my life, right? Like, I think you would do that too. You wouldn't lie to save your
Don't
life.
be so sure.
You wouldn't lie to save your life.
How much do you know about me? I didn't lie to save my career. I didn't lie to save my clinical practice.
Would you lie to like save your children, your mom, your dad?
I don't think lying would save them.
Can there ever be a circumstance?
Oh, that's brilliant, dude. Dude,
Yeah.
we have this man. We have a man who's dedicated his life to something that matters. He's dedicated his life to like thinking deeply and taking risks and staking claims and sacrificing enormous, amounts of things for things that he believes in. It's beautiful that he's talking with a young man who hasn't sacrificed nearly as much and who doesn't value belief and character and words and truth and honesty. You can see that there's no weight. At least that's how I see it in this kid. It's like like words are tools, and I'm going to fashion them to meet my objective. I'm not going to sacrifice for anything that, because nothing really has lasting value. I think it's it's a brilliant juxtaposition of these two, like a deep, hard-won character versus a shallow, intellectual. You have anything to say about that?
This is just like a really annoying part of the conversation to be in, like defining what belief is,
Yeah.
because it's really, I think it's hard to define belief, and I don't necessarily think it's something you would die for, live for and die for. Belief, it's just like, I don't know, really difficult. And then I feel like but it's also kind of a crucial element to the conversation. So but yeah, keep going.
Okay. I mean, I think it's brilliant. Like what is belief? Is it something just lightweight, or is it something that matters beyond your possible imagination, like beyond your
Logically, that lying could save someone.
Yeah, and if you're steeped in sin, you're likely to live in circumstances like that.
I'll give you an example. If you're in Nazi Germany, and it is the case that there's Jewish people in your attic and you're trying to protect them, would you lie to the Nazis?
I would have done everything I bloody well could, so I wouldn't be in that situation to begin with. It's a hypothetical, and it's not answerable.
Hypotheticals?
No, I can't answer a hypothetical like that because
Did
it's
you eat
far.
today?
Look,
Did you
don't
eat today?
play games.
I'm not playing games. I'm just
Yes,
asking if
you
you ate
are.
it.
If you present me with an intractable moral choice that's stripped of context and you back me into a corner, you're playing game. I just told you
Hypothetical.
I would do everything that I could to make sure that I'm never in that situation. By the time you've got there, you've made so many mistakes that there's nothing you can do that isn't a sin.
Being born in Nazi Germany and trying to protect people that you care about, there could be a Jewish friend that you have and you want to protect them.
I think you should
have
just
them in
give
your
up on
attic.
that line of questioning.
Give up on just trying to clarify your position? Because you
I
don't
did
like, are you
clarify.
uncomfortable with me asking this question? It's just a basic hypothetical. I could ask you.
It's just a basic
yeah,
hypothetical
you-
where you
if you-
put Jews' lives at stake in Nazi Germany. That's just a basic hypothetical.
Obviously, you would lie in that scenario to save their life, but you're not trying to answer this question
What's
for
odd-
some reason.
I just told you why.
Are you anti-fascist? So you're
Why are
anti-fascist?
you asking that?
I was just asking, just clarifying. But okay, again, you're not answering this hypothetical because it shows that you clearly would lie to save
I'm
someone's life.
answering it in
Obviously,
a
that's
manner
not what
you
truth
don't
is.
find acceptable.
Obviously, because I care about truth.
I wouldn't be in that scenario.
Obviously, right? Logically, because that's
No.
already happened. That's in the past. You don't have a time travel device. We're bringing this logical hypothetical up to show you that in some circumstances that do happen within the real world, you would lie to save people's lives. So your definition of truth isn't actually.
Hey, you know what I think is interesting? It's clear that this kid has engaged in hundreds or thousands of debates, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Jordan Peterson, at least in my view, is not accustomed to this kind of rapid fire, extreme hypothetical, straw man ish tactics that are just being thrown at him like rapid fire. He's more of a deep, intentional, thoughtful thinker. And so I don't think he's adapted to this kind of sort of gotcha type, like rapid
Yeah.
fire debate style.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, yeah, this kid did not do very well, to be honest. Like, they didn't really get anywhere. I remember I don't remember which part it was, but I remember there was one discussion that was really good. But I feel like I've seen it. I'm not sure. Hold on, I'm gonna try and remind myself. Oh, actually, no, yeah. So the conversation. So someone else who kind of thinks, I feel like somewhat similarly to Jordan Peterson, but is like a modern day version of him, and like a young guy. I think he's 23 years old actually, and he's like wise, like a wise 23-year-old. Is Alex O'Connor? He had a podcast episode with Jordan Peterson, and that was really good.
Was it?
Oh yeah.
Hey, you know what? I have a hard stop in 5 minutes, but you know what we should do maybe is find like really interesting clips that are very thought provoking, and then
About
like,
what?
like really interesting thought provoking clips like that, like curate them,
Yeah.
and then come to like have it be part of the series where we like review them and talk about them.
Yeah. That'd be cool. Wait, how do you share? You present?
In StreamYard, yeah, present or invite. Do you have the same controls I do?
Share screen. Let's see. And,
Like I can control the layout of how we show up on the screen. You might not be able to.
can you see?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Sweet.
Can you see this?
You have to add it to the stage. Did you do it?
Could you hear it?
Go ahead. I cannot hear it. Yeah, I can't hear the audio.
You can't?
I cannot. But you could hear the audio when I played it, right?
Yeah. Did you share screen or share window or Chrome tab?
I shared a Chrome tab. I think that was maybe the difference.
Can you see it now? Can you hear it now? Tell me.
His name,
Yes, I can hear it.
God is there.
Yep.
Right. Okay. So, well, what does that mean? Well, as far as I'm concerned, what it means is that if you're unerring in your choice of words, if you're seeking with them and exploring, and I'm doing the same, and then we do that together, that's a mutually redemptive process that spirals upward.
So if
And
somebody,
that's a Christian endeavor.
one of the conditions under which somebody can say they're a Christian and be either lying or wrong, and the conditions under which someone can say I'm not a Christian and be either lying or wrong, if you see what I mean.
That's a very good question. Well, something came to mind right away when you asked that question, like pretty much instantly. It said, the redemptive. There's a reason that Christ is represented as the person who took the sins of the world onto himself. Well, that's the essence. It's like the world is a fallen place, and you have the responsibility to do something about that. And the degree to which you take that responsibility onto yourself, that's the degree to which you are
A Christian.
follower of Christ.
I
right?
suppose it's
That's
not
a
an on and
definition.
off switch. That was it's unfair to
Hey,
frame.
pause it real quick.
Right,
Yeah, that's awesome. I've heard him say that before. I really like that. It's
No,
like
but Alex O'Connor's like really, really good too. So I feel like that whole. I don't
That
think
whole
I've watched that entire thing, but I probably will now right after this.
cool, man. I got to jump to a meeting. It's great to be back on the pod, the Kram pod.
Yeah.
So Yeah, man. Let's do this on the regular now, and let's
All
see
right.
if we can, like this is this one might have been a little rusty. I don't know. There's probably some good nuggets in here, but yeah, we get back in the flow. We can our Kramites will have. So we got to serve our Kramites well.
Yeah.
They need.
What did Josh call us again?
What was it? Yeah, I thought it was Kramites.
No, it was
Cramhead. Was it a Cramhead?
no, it wasn't Cramhead. That's kind of cool though, Cramhead.
Cramhead.
Yeah, I don't know. I forgot what he said.
Yeah.
Anyway, cool.
Okay. All right. We'll do it again soon. Love you, Dane.
All right. Love you too.
We'll see ya.
See ya.